Hi everybody, Frank Finance here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be talking about MariMed, ticker symbol MRMD. So for today's agenda on MariMed, I'm going to give a price target, give a brief business description, look at the fundamentals / financials. Next we'll look at the price history of MariMed stock, and then finally I'll give my thoughts on MariMed MRMD as an investment. If while you're watching the video you like the content, please hit that thumbs up button. Also consider subscribing. I do videos and stock analysis at least twice a week, so please tune in for that. Now to your content. All right, so my price target on MRMD is $1.60 in the next 12 months. That indicates about 100% upside potential for the ticker. The upside comes with significant risk, so please keep that in mind. Stick around throughout the video to understand why I believe that upside potential is there. And I'll also talk about some of those downside risks and what you should be looking out for. All right, so if we look at MariMed and what business they're in, I think it's important to start off with their mission. They say they want to be a trusted source of high quality cannabis products that consistently deliver innovative health and wellness solutions. In short, they are in the cannabis industry. Some points that they say about themselves is they're highly profitable MSO with facilities in 5 high-growth states: Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, and Nevada. Their portfolio is a top-selling and award-winning brands, deeply experienced operations-focused management team that's been together 10 years. They have a clear strategic plan and strong financials fueling sustained growth and profitability. We will look at those financials here in a moment. And so you understand the geographic and what they're doing in each of those states. There's 5 states, 7 operating dispensaries, 3 dispensaries under development, 4 cultivation and production facilities. And if you want to look at this slide a little bit more deeper, you can see where those facilities are in each state. All right, so jumping into the financials, if you look at their revenue over the last 3 years, you can see they went from 11.9 million up to 50.9 million. If you look at their year-over-year growth, it was at 95, 284, and then 11% from 2019 to 2020. Gross profit margin has been around 68 to 40 to 61%. EBITDA margin negative up into the positive, and their net income for the first time in fiscal year 2020 was positive at 2.1 million. All right, so if we look into their revenue for full year 2021, they're anticipating their revenue to grow from 50.9 up to $100 million, and EBITDA to grow from 16.3 up to $30 million. All right, so if we dive a little deeper into revenue and we look at Q1 of 2021, we can see that they're backing up that $100 million estimate for full guidance 2021. Their core cannabis business brought in that $24.6 million. That's a 230% increase from this time last year. Their gross profit was up 171%, EBITDA up 764%. Their EBITDA margin from 12% up to 31%, and their working capital went from negative 2 million down to up to 17 million. Hey, if you like this type of content, hit that thumbs up button. Thanks so much. Back to the show. All right, so diving into the balance sheet, if we look at first quarter of 2021, total cash and short-term investments was at 13.6. You can see their cash and equivalents increased from 3 million to 12 million. If we go down here, total current assets, that increased because of that cash. If we look at our total assets, that increased from 76 to 90 million. Total current liabilities decreased from 23.2 to 14.6. Current portion of long-term debt decreased by about 10 million. And if we look at long-term leases, long-term debt, that decreased from 25.4 to 17.9. And total liabilities at 37 million, total assets at 90 million. So balance sheet looks fairly healthy. All right, so moving on to free cash flow. This is one of the most exciting pieces of this whole puzzle. If we look at the first quarter of fiscal year 2021, they had cash from operations of 6.8 million and $2.3 million in CapEx. If we extrapolated that over the full year, they're anticipating revenues of 100 million. Essentially, they made 24 million in Q1, times it by 4. Essentially, you get free cash flow in the first quarter of 4.5 million. That's 6.8 minus 2.3. If you multiply that out times 4, 4.5 times 4 is 18 million. take their current market cap of $296 million, divided by the 18 million in free cash flow anticipated for full year 2021. And so at their current prices, their free cash flow and nothing changes. They hit free cash flow of 18 million for the year. Their market cap stays the same. They would be trading currently futures at 16 times free cash flow, which in my opinion is really great for a company that has revenue growth of almost 100% for this current year. All right, so I wanted to do a comparative analysis of MariMed versus some other cannabis MSOs. So MariMed, we're going to be talking about MariMed, Cresco Labs, Trulieve Cannabis, GTI, and Curaleaf Holdings. All right, so I wanted to look at MeriMed's stock price performance versus some of those competitors we mentioned. If you look at their one-year chart, they're up 483% compared to the others around anywhere from 100 to less than 200%. If we look at the 2-year, they're actually underperforming in the 2-year mark, down 45% compared to the other ones, 25 up into the 250s. 3 years looks very similar. They're still down. Everybody's up quite substantially. 5 years, you can see that some of these companies haven't even been around for a full 5 years. And MariMed's definitely been around a little bit longer. And they had this huge rise several years ago in the 2018-2019 time period, and then they've had a drop, and now that's where they're at today. Hey, hope you're enjoying this far. Please remember, hit that thumbs up button. Please, please, please. Thumbs. All right, so next up, we're going to do a comparison of kind of the revenue and net income and do some multiple comparison between MariMed and the other 4 competitors. There are really 4 main competitors. So first up is Cresco. Cresco actually has not had positive net income yet. They have incredible growth rate at 272% for the last year. If we look at their multiple, they have forward price to earnings of 7.9. Not sure how that's possible. Price to earnings honestly can't be calculated here, so I'm not sure how I don't think that's a reasonable number. If we look at Trulieve on the revenue side, 100% growth. That's what MariMed is anticipating for this next year. This one actually has positive net income, and if we look at their multiples here, we can go down to price to earning last 12 months, 64 times. If we look at that and compare that to MariMed, they are around, where are you? They are around 34, so about half price. So this is kind of where you can start to see why I'm anticipating this to grow by about double if the multiples hold true with some of their competitors that have positive net income. The next up, GTI, they have positive net income as well of about $15 million. Their growth is around 157%, so a little higher growth here. So you have to keep that in mind. And then on the multiples, give me 1 second, let's get over to it. They have a current price to earnings of the last 12 months of 236 times. So just insane multiple there compared to the other one at 64. So just comparing those two, Trulieve seems to be probably a better, at least value, higher growth, lower valuation. The last one is Curaleaf. This one's like the largest in terms of market cap at 9.7. Still not profitable, negative net income. Growth rate still very high, 183%. We don't have any multiples, I don't believe, on this one we can really compare it to. All right, so why I thought it was important to do the comparison there was because these 4 are much larger than MariMed. Anywhere from a market cap of 4 all the way up to $9 billion, while MariMed's around 300 million currently. The reason why I think this is important is there could be an opportunity for some M&A, merger and acquisition activity of these bigger names acquiring MariMed. The CEO has actually said that they're not interested in selling, but the only reason is because they're not trading high enough currently. So what that indicates to me is if we compare MariMed's trading, basically their their stock price is a comparison of multiples to the 2 that have positive net income, we can see that there is room for MariMed to grow in that industry. They have good revenue, they have a strong balance sheet. There's a lot of good things in their favor. Do I think this is a normal company? Absolutely not. They're an over-the-counter, low-volume stock. It's a penny stock. It's not a traditional stock, so I'm not, kind of going this off. I'm not doing this based off of kind of traditional valuation methods. You really have to look at this as a unique situation. There's high growth here. The multiple is typically going to be a lot higher, but if you look at that free cash flow estimate, if everything stays the same, if the stock price stays exactly the same as it is right now, the free cash flow is going to be somewhere around 16, which is a very reasonable number right now. And even if it's, even if it got cut in half, that multiple was at 32, if the growth rate is high, it can justify, it doesn't always justify overpaying for something. And in this case, I think if they can reach, which they have reiterated, they're going to hit that $100 million. They're going to have that growth rate. Their free cash flow will hopefully be somewhere around that $18 million, and they should have a justifiable stock price where they're currently trading. If M&A comes into the picture, they could draw a higher multiple valuation. So right at their current prices, I do think they have some value if someone is going to go pick them up, because they would have to pay a premium on that purchase. And if I'm looking at some of the two major competitors that have positive net income, the lowest one has a multiple double of what they currently are trading at in their last 12 months price to earnings. So I do think there's considerable upside here. It is a risky play, as it is a over the counter. It's a penny stock. Definitely lots of downside risk here. They're currently trading in the 80-90 cent range. They could possibly go down into where they were trading back 6 months ago, into like that 10 to 20 cents range. So there's a whole lot of ranging here that could happen. So I advise everyone, please do due diligence. Make sure you understand the risk when you're going into investments like this. This is definitely a risky investment with some higher upside potential. However, again, it is that there is always risk with every investment. Please do due diligence. One more risk I need to talk about is the fact that they are selling cannabis. Cannabis is still illegal on the federal level. The states have decriminalized it and they're allowing the sale. I'm not sure exactly how MSOs are structured in order to be able to sell, but one of the reasons why they're an OTC, over the counter, and not listed on a major exchange is, one, it's illegal and they can't do that, and they can't file through the SEC because, well, I don't know if they file through the SEC, but the point is they can't do that because essentially they're engaging in illegal activity at the federal level, and so they can't really go through the SEC, and that's my understanding of that. So just keep that in mind. It does seem like regulations are moving from a state level and they're spreading out. More conservative states are actually bringing this on, decriminalizing recreational cannabis, and that's the business that these folks are in, essentially. But until it becomes federally acknowledged, they decriminalize completely at the federal level, there's this other business risk that's out there outside of it just being a small cap, low volume penny stock. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the video. What do you think about MariMed? What did you think about the analysis? Also, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Thanks so much for watching today's video. My name is Frank Finance, out.